Our next speaker is Sten-Kristian Saluveer, based in Estonia and Japan, an audiovisual media innovation and policy strategist, has an Academy Award nomination. We'll be discussing Estonia's coming together in a country-wide COVID-19 hackathon. Sten, over to you.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
In this, thank you for having me, and I'm very happy to reflect on an experience that we've had in the past week of really harnessing the power of the crowd and addressing this global epidemic, through a very unique partnership with the civic society. In this position, I'm a strategist for Startup Estonia, which is a kind of a flagship organization for our tech community, and basically a kind of an ombudsman really between the society, tech community, and the governance. So, just to kind of start from the beginning, we have to understand that Estonia is a very small nation in the middle of kind of Scandinavia, Europe, and because we are very small and we are very vulnerable. We have built a quite an advanced digital infrastructure and community. So, the X Road, which is our kind of governmental API, it powers about 90% of our governmental services. And, as a citizen, you'll be really able to, access anything from your healthcare data to, up to your voting, parking, ordering goods online, etc. And having also education, and it's been extremely helpful in this kind of present situation as well. And what is really unique, and what is a kind of a call to action later for discussion, is some of our infrastructure, as you know, is available for non-Estonian residents all over the world through our e-residency program, which basically means is that, we have an infrastructure that we can hopefully scale in helping other countries, either physically through the infrastructure or our experience. But let's get to the whole COVID case. So Estonians are, we're always quite proud of saying that we are sensible people, and we're resilient, and we fight and survive through all kinds of diseases and political upheavals. But we have to say that things are escalating quite fast. So on 27th of February, the first case was detected in Estonia. It was an Iranian gentleman who came from a conference. Actually went himself to be diagnosed, which was a great example of the kind of responsibility in citizenry. But as of today, or actually as of yesterday, there are 326 cases, for a population of 1.3 million. So what we're really seeing is an exponential growth of the situation. And since we do also have issue of limited testing kits, we actually don't know, how far it has spread out, but we definitely see that there are clusters happening around country. There are 2 persons in a critical state, so this is real. We have only 200 ICU beds, around 200 ICU beds in Estonia, so we have to potentially start looking at preventive measures to address this crisis. So what happened? Last week, last Thursday, the Estonian Prime Minister, Mr. Ratas, decided to declare the state of emergency, which basically means that schools, public facilities, etc., closed. People are suggested, we're not on a curfew, but to stay at home, follow the quarantine procedures, at least for 2 weeks, but potentially until the beginning of the May. So we have to deal with the aftermath. And then straight out of that, the tech community decided to take the lead to address this crisis. So only a few hours after the emergency was announced, the Minister for Foreign Trade and ICT, Mr. Kaimar Karu, shared a call to action that we should actually use this crisis to emerge stronger than when it began, right? By next morning at 9:30, the Hack the Crisis, which was a one-of-a-kind community public-private hackathon, was suggested by the tech community as a response. So what happened next was that in 30 minutes later, the minister endorsed this activity. Things were set in motion. Accelerate Estonia, which is a kind of an internal moonshot lab that has been recently started within the government to develop these kinds of very agile and exponential projects between the citizenry, the community, and And the public sector took the lead together with Garage 48, which is our homegrown tech training organization. So by 2:30, the hackathon was launched. By 6 p.m., we had 350 people joining in the hackathon with around 80 ideas posted for discussion. 33 teams started working on Friday evening, and by Sunday, March 15th, there were 1,000 people participating and 30 teams working. So we had two ideas: how to use tech crisis for critical response, and how to actually design services for the post-crisis era, in the kind of lines what Daniel, for example, was suggested. And what's really great was that there was a lot of support offered by the government, 5 ideas with 5,000 euros to take the solution further in the next month. And there is also a discussion of generating the impact fund plus all kinds of perks, infrastructure, etc., so forward. And so it was an unprecedented success in various levels. The fact that the public sector, the tech community, and the citizenry mobilized themselves very fast. We've never seen this in Estonia. We have already solutions out in the market that are helping people. And what is the most amazing thing is that the hashtag Hack the Crisis has actually inspired quite a global movement in basically addressing these issues in the same way. So now there's already 35 events happening all over the world. For example, last weekend in Finland, there's the next one coming in India, Poland, Germany, etc. And together with Accelerate Estonia and Garage, we're also looking to scale to the European level as well, because we see that the ideas and the solutions that are coming from entrepreneurs and citizenry are great. So what was really successful? What made it a success? Great. We had a fantastic organizer, Accelerate Estonia, which already had this as a sort of a dialogue vehicle between the governance and the tech community. There were connections, between the right people in the public sector and pushing basically the things to live. Plus also the availability of open data, from different government repositories was a big bonus, right? The second thing was that, of course, the tech community is quite advanced and we have the digital infrastructure to build things on, right? So we could move fast. And I think what was really great was that it wasn't really a hackathon, but it was really a platform for people to act as citizens, right, with which other people were also reflecting in. And although the hackathon is finished, the community still thrives. There are 1,300 people on Slack. They're working together on a daily basis. So we really see that people want to take action, right? And up to the point where our president also participated in the hackathon and opened it. So we really see that something as a community platform is happening. 8 teams are already live, and there was a snowball hack. But I also have to warn or be very kind of critical of saying what didn't work out, right? For other organizations to learn. So definitely the key issue there is that how do we gather the problems, right? Where our governance and our emergency services are already on the verge of I would say critical overload, right? Then how do you actually establish this dialogue and say, hey, we can actually take some of the pressure off you, right? That we can dive in.
I think,
definitely. Tia, let me just shoot one very key thing out here, which I actually had discussion with Guy Philippe, infrastructure. I think one of the points what we are totally forgetting in this discussion is that digital infrastructure is something that we take for granted, but it's also getting quite heated up, right? So how do we protect the infrastructure and how do we maintain the infrastructure, right? To make even these events happen. And the third point, basically what I want to say, is implementation. We can have these great hackathons, but I think in order to basically scale them, in a classical startup methodology, we need actually new types of configurations to implement. And that involves basically trust and other forms of collaboration that were spoken with others before. So if you want, to join the community and learn from our learnings, then, check out Hack the Crisis, and we're really ready to discuss and take our own small experience global. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Sten. I'm sure a little bit later we'll have a bit of a discussion. I know that Guy had a question about France and also the UK. Just to maintain time, I'm going to hand over to John to introduce our next speaker, Sten. Hold on there for the questions.
Thank you.
Audience members, if you do have any questions, please do share them so we can collect them.